Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a VOD review here today on the European server. And we have a fan favorite, not this one. We have the Boaster fan, one of the most beautiful human beings in the League community. It is going to be the Rekkles, the one and only, the safe player, the one that made it back from the lower leagues, made it back into the teams, and he's gonna be starting out, of course, on the AD carry position here on the Varus. Varus, quite the scary champion to deal with, and you know, with Milio, sounds pretty disgusting to be honest. I just think about all the stacks that will hit the enemy from longer range now, setting that up, and then hitting them with the E. I think Milio... I actually never checked Milio win rate. We're gonna do that right now, guys. Why? Because I'm a professional streamer and I can't be thought to prepare that. You know, I say professional streamer. Dude. I should just shut the fuck up. Alright. Seems to have a good win rate. Never felt that good to me, but whenever I played with it, I mean, I never play AD carry, but whenever I played with it in my team, never felt that impactful. On the enemy team, also never felt impactful. I'm always happy whenever it's not an any. But it is what it is. Support any has been nerfed here on this current patch. The shield is going to be considerably weaker, as now any is going to find a good trade here onto the Milio. Rekkles moving in front of his support here, and will be not able to protect him, as now he does maximum amount of damage here, but will lose this to the Jinx. Flash last second and he will get himself to safety. Jinx taking that tower shot now puts Rekkles back on the map again. Now, as long as he is able to hit level 2, which he is not going to be able to do very early, he is going to trade himself for the Jinx now. And the dangerous play that Jinx made here is the fact that she left the lane in a very good state, and look at who just arrived in time to freeze this. Whew. The virus already on the way, so Annie can't really do too much about it. Is gonna try to push this out just a little bit, but unfortunately, of course, the Varus is going to benefit way more from this than the Jinx. So they went out reasonably even, with obviously Jinx getting out a shutdown out of the situation. Not a shutdown, but a first blood gold. Different kind of bounty. Getting that out of the fight, and of course here the Varus getting quite a bit of XP out of the fight. I would still say that Rekkles is benefiting a little bit more here, as I would value EXP a little bit higher than the gold that was generated here. And as it almost was a full wave, I think that gold-wise he should also be like a 60 gold-ish up. So generally not a bad situation to be in. And it's going to be hard to get your footing as the Jinx now, believe it or not, as of course the trades can become very, very toxic here as soon as this Varus starts to ramp up. Interestingly enough, though, we are going for a Noon Quiver start. That is, of course, because we are also running the lethal tempo here instead of running anything related to the lethality tree of the Varus. Buff top. Plays Jax. Alright, mate. Alright. You good. Alright, so we have buff top. Evelyn now looking for a solo here, and with solo kill. Looking for a dive here onto the Zed. 404 brain not found. Wrong memory output. As we are going to find a good amount of damage here onto the Annie. Do not underestimate the on-hit burn from the passive here. As, yeah, Annie taking a lot of damage here. And Wukong is not going to find a gank. It's going to be very difficult for Wukong to gank this anyhow. So, that is what it is. As Milio is going to find himself trapped here and will actually take quite a bit of damage. Rekkles, though. You know, Rekkles not doing a bad job here. Just, you know, picking up the farm and staying healthy. Ready to play this for the long run. is going to find very favorable trades here every single time he touches the Jinx. But also is not going to be pressuring overly aggressive, is not going to try to absolutely demolish this Jinx. He's just taking the trades whenever they're there, otherwise focusing on himself, as now the dive is going to be commencing here. Milio taking the aggro, as Rekkles is allowed to just stay in tower range here and pick up the plating as well. Milio got to get out of here soon, as Rekkles drops the beautifully happy bee emoji. Absolutely cute. Annie not going to check out the bush here for the Milio and will not find him. Unfortunate, and it's going to be really hard to come back here. And this is beautiful because nothing super spicy happened, really. Rekkles kind of just got screwed over and made the best out of the situation by adhering to the fundamentals of the game, made the best out of the situation of his support, overextending himself a little bit too much versus Annie with a point-and-click stun. And yeah, I mean, he managed to get the trade with the Jinx in a really good position. And I can't help but notice that that is something that he does a lot. So, you know, he tends to play very focused on resources, very like thinking about, oh yeah, as long as the enemy team has to expend a lot of resources to take me down, it's fine. I think that's a very interesting way to play the game. Also, of course, didn't work too well with some of the aggressive super teams in question, but is something that we see a lot with Nemesis as well, and is actually very good playstyle for something like the solo queue, which I think is like very important, right? To point out that in solo queue, this absolutely works great, because in pro play, this, like, as long as the enemy team has to expand resources, doesn't really work that well, because the enemy team often has their own idea of how they manage resources, and they have the idea of like, okay, we can kill here by expending enough resources that we don't just like lose next fights. It's a beautiful bait here out of the Annie, and that is going to be the flash ultimate here by the Wukong, and he's going to pick up one kill. Another one goes over to the Jinx, and a huge amount of CS here is lost as Rekkles, realizing the mistake that was made here, gonna spam out triple dagger here. Kind of a question mark build. Would love to know what that is all about, but he's gonna get himself a lot of attack speed, of course. That does work very well. And this is an absolutely huge turn of events here from the Wukong. Very well played, because the blue team bot lane here was about to approach level 6, and once Varus hits level 6 in this lane, it's very difficult for someone like the Jinx or like the Annie to play. Now that the levels are more equalized, it is going to be much more even playing field here, with the Annie ultimate obviously being very strong. Milio, good answer to the Annie, as he is able to remove that stun, of course. And I just realized that, like, my new video, dude, my PC hung himself up while uploading videos, and now I really hope that my video is going to be like fully processed by YouTube until like 3 hours from now, where I release the video. So unfortunate, man. Yeah, internet speeds are probably the reason why I stopped streaming, because I just realized, like, I would never be able to put out as good of a product as I would want. And so I ended up just deciding to go. But never mind that, as the Annie will go down here. The trigger has been pulled, and the Varus will go down to the Jinx. So Milio will stay alive in this one. Unfortunately, though, Rekkles will go down. Hasn't used his flash nor his cleanse. Very interesting, as of course the Jinx does have her flash as well. So flashing away from the Jinx, not necessarily going to be the most useful thing that you can do. Also didn't check though whether or not there was any potential, as Wukong's just gonna gift over one kill. Very questionable decision here to go for this, because let's be honest, you are not really... Yeah, you're not really that strong without your item yet. Wukong obviously getting reasonably stronger with his item. Now, a kill has been acquired here on to the Evelyn by the Silas, flashing in, using that Evelyn ult to get himself to safety, and he will be walking back into the mid lane. Can't help but feel like I wanted to know whether or not that was Caps, but that wasn't Caps. I thought Napoleon Hill was Caps, but I could swear it is like some kind of pro player. Maybe it was humanoid. Oh no, that's still Wesley Warren Jr. Okay. Can't tell you. Cannot tell you. Tried to do the research, but I believe that the name has already been like switched, so unless I go into archives and shit, which I think that you guys would agree with me, absolutely not worth it. Unless I do that, probably not the best idea. But, oh my god, today's casts are not the best. Ugh. I'm sorry guys, but girlfriend's coming over, so I kind of am like pre-producing, so I can have like a free day here that I can spend. And actually here the trigger now pulled by Rekkles. He has the flash available to himself. He's going to be looking for a second kill here, but Annie just going to shut that down with her Q, and it's going to be very difficult here for Milio to pick up a kill onto the Annie. Is Annie actually quite the animal? We'll actually be going here for the AP version of the build as well, which I think that is not a bad choice at all, because Annie does have really good scalings, and now with the shield nerf, I don't think there is a lot that you can do to play her without, you know, using her scaling. Don't think it's the best idea anymore. Is what I was trying to say. Oh my god, dude. Dude, it's a whole mess, man. It is a whole mess. Let me tell you. Let me tell you. Alright, Rekkles now has the Immortal Shield Bow available here, Rage Knife and the Dagger available to himself as well. Once he gets those two built into an item as well, it's going to be very, very strong. But already, Immortal Shield Bow plus the Berserker Boots and the Rage Knife already puts him at a, you know, very comfortable lead here. Problem is, of course, Milio more a defensive support, so not going to be able to assist nearly as much as the Annie with her Lost Chapter, and then she goes blasting one. So I think that on any support, you're never going to go like Liandry's. And it, like, I don't think that Liandry's makes as much sense as the Luden's doesn't make as much sense as Liandry's is gonna, because you're never going to scale to the point where the magic pen is going to be super useful. Instead, you are going to scale to the point where, of course, like the enemy team just gets more maximum HP, so the burn is just gonna be there. It's gonna be, oh, La Boomba will be dodged. Very good attempt here by the Jinx at trading back, but Rekkles this time will get himself out of that situation. Now Milio has the Shurelya's, and this does kind of disable the Annie Tibbers a little bit during the fight. Allows, obviously, both of the bot lane members here to kite around the Tibbers a little bit better, thus having that duel deal less damage. Yeah, I still think that Liandry's is a million times better here. Not necessarily versus the enemy team, although as well, but just with how the Annie Tibbers works. And the fact that you are never planning to one-shot, but you are planning to just put out massive damage by putting that Tibbers into the team fight and having people smite it and focus on it. Or just get ticked down second by second. And Liandry's, of course, does way, way better with that combination. Obviously, as a compound of that, you also are shredding some magic penetration, which is very good, right? This is also something that you can't forget about the Liandry's now. So yeah, I think that Liandry is better than Luden's, is the TLDR here on the Annie, but you know, it is what it is. Alright. So the cannon is definitely having a good time, right? And cannon having a good time always means that team fighting is going to be very scary here. Silas now did pick up the Evelyn ultimate, so that's going to be scary as Evelyn will pick up a kill onto the Jinx here. Wukong now looking for a fight and is dealing massive amounts of damage as the Annie and the Wukong together can just shred down the enemy team as a good cleanse came out of Rekkles, but it doesn't really matter at all. As now the Evelyn and the Cannon are going to try to trade back, but Cannon already used the E and will not be able to find an ultimate. Oh, hold on. He does now find the ultimate. Unfortunately, just dealing massive damage to the clone. But the shutdown onto the enemy here, Annie, and to the Annie acquired here by the Evelyn. And actually very well played by the Evelyn, as unfortunately the Silas will still be able to pick up a kill onto the Cannon, thus taking down the shutdown and kind of trading that even. But still, this ends up working out pretty well here for the blue team, with Jax, of course, showing up to that party and Zed not really being anywhere to be seen. So yeah, not having the best time. Alright, Zed now arriving at the scene. Spend a little bit of time pre-drinking. He's a little bit late to the party, but let's see. Maybe he knows how to party hard enough that that doesn't really matter anymore. Definitely going to be a difficult one, as here Seeker's Armguard now picked up by the Varus, who will make the decision for himself to delay his Rage Blade for a Armguard. Armguard's gonna help out with the Wukong and with the Zed, also with the Jinx. However, I'm not expecting the Jinx to be hitting the Varus too much here, as I mean, so generally, like, Zhonya's is definitely an item that you can build on the Varus, just because, of course, Varus does have decent enough AP scaling here. Absolutely love champions that are able to double dip into stats. As now Jax will be taken down here. Only took 3 members of the enemy team, as the Cannon is going to deal massive amounts of damage to the turret. That should be enough for him. Turret almost goes down, is obviously in the bot lane. 1 turret has been taken down already, so not really a worthwhile trade here with a couple of auto attacks. Is now the cross map though is coming into action, which, I mean, at this point isn't really a cross map anymore. This is that just, yeah, I mean, he is just, he's been drinking a little bit too much, trying to pre-drink for the party, and now he's just like, you know, he's just that guy, the guy that shows up, eats all the food, is already drunk, and then just like has to be escorted out eventually. As Jinx, though, will be taken down here by the Evelyn. Oof. A very close one, as Rekkles now arriving at the scene, being like, hey, how dare you guys have fun without me? Rage Blade in his hands now. So now we were expecting a Zhonya out of the Varus, and honestly, I don't think that's a bad idea, because Zhonya, decent answer here to the Annie, decent answer to the Wukong Cyclone, decent answer to a potential Sylas Evelyn ultimate, which is going to be the ultimate that Sylas focuses on here most of the time. Maybe Cannon ultimate also a really good option. As now, the Zed, a little bit of duress. Let's see if he can, no, will just get stunned and taken down. Doesn't even use his W. Well, this Zed This set is, at least he's winning over the hearts, yeah? Let's be honest. This would be us, right? If we were thrown into these games, we were also not expecting the instant reactivation of the Jax E into the stun. We would also be holding our W for too long. And be taken down. 180 CS here for Rekkles. A little bit behind the curve. Also, didn't really have the best of times though in his lane, so absolutely understandable. And of course, still ahead of the Jinx. I don't know what the Jinx is doing, but this is not how you win games as an AD carry. It's been dying a lot. Been dying quite a bit to the Evelynn, so I understand it. Evelynn absolutely fun to deal with. Alright. So now the team cohesion here on the red team is definitely going up, as now the ultimate is gonna be popped here by both Kennen and Wukong. Wukong just gonna pick that one up as Jinx is going to be target of the sexy lady once again. Very good damage here out of Rekkles. Wukong losing a lot of HP as Jax will find the solo here. And a double kill goes over to Rekkles right now, as obviously Evelynn is going to try to... Did I just slur my words? Evelynn going to try to pick up the Wukong here. Is not going to be able to find that one yet. Is now Varus with massive damage available. Jax catching out the Sylas. And that is a dead Sylas. And that is a Baron going over to the blue team here. Very well played by everyone. And of course, this Jax has a lot of impact onto the map here. You know, just joining the fights and just, you know, every objective that he shows up to just immediately goes over to the blue team. But, you know, of course, top lane is still absolutely imbalanced, so you have to buff it. This is like a Zerg player telling you that Zerg is underpowered, and you're like, oh. Isn't Cyril world champion right now? I mean, right now he actually isn't, but like, you know, this works for most of the years in StarCraft. You're like, well, you know, maybe you need some buffs. Maybe the lane is fine. I mean, whenever I watch Zeus, I feel like the lane's pretty fine. But, you know, it is an unfair comparison though. Zeus obviously being like the best top laner there is. And, alright. So, yeah, actually, the Zhonya already was used here by Rekkles. Rekkles will still go down. Putting out pretty decent damage here, of course, but the Zhonya, and now he's picking up more AP. He's gonna go for the on-hit, for an on-hit Rod of Ages build here. No, not Rod of Ages. You know what I mean. Nash's Tooth build. Very interesting. Yeah, very interesting indeed, that build. What the hell? Would love to know, like, how that compares in damage. Because, of course, the problem with the AP build is that it has this, like, pretty long internal timer of the W. It's gonna be interesting. I mean, the on-hit build, in general, works pretty well together with AP. I think it's just, like, a slight shift into a little bit more bursty. But also, of course, more ability reliant. Said. It's going to be looking here for the Evelynn now. Dude, Jinx. Holy moly. Like, use your chompers more aggressively. As if those chompers are ever going to do anything but expose you to a potential, like, Evelynn loop around. Alright, well, that ultimate is going to be popped. Kennen will make his way out of their very good situation here for the red team, though, as Jinx will be able to pick up a double kill for herself, and massive damage coming out of the now deceased Sylas. And the Wukong, of course, as well. Yeah, Wukong is currently a very impactful champion. Ridiculously strong as now. Jax, yeah, is going to have to make his way out of there, is obviously the Annie. Point and click stunning you under the turret. Not necessarily the best of news. So definitely not a bad idea to avoid that, as now Jax is going to be trying to trade it out here. Of course, the Evelynn is around, ready to maybe find a solo kill here, but no, will decide to play it safe, as the Sylas now in pursuit, and Evelynn is going to drop that W, and Sylas immediately knows, nope, I'm not going to go any further. As now Dr. Evil planning to do some pretty evil stuff to the enemy AD carry. It's Jinx. Feeling safe. Oh. Very good instinct by the Jinx here. Knows what's up. Absolutely love it. So what happened? Oh, Varus and Melio out of position here, caught out as the Wukong Cyclone will put down the Rekkles. But Rekkles is able to find the trade here onto the Jinx, so that is a very good job, as Evelynn now is going to be looking for potentially taking down the Zed. Of course, just sneaking into the backside here of the team, something that Evelynn players absolutely need to do, as the W is dropped and the cannon will go in here, will find a massive amount of damage here. Unfortunately, we are not able to take down the Wukong just yet, and so most of the enemy team actually stays alive, only Annie being taken down yet. Wukong is definitely gonna try to make it out of here. Weird step back, as yeah, he will just be taken down now. But Sylas still stayed alive, with Jinx now back on the board and the Zed still pushing away into the top lane. Absolutely not. Like, he's just out of this game, dude. He doesn't really care anymore. Just trying to collect some gold, tilt pushing, and maybe potentially eventually, whatever the fuck that abomination of words was that just came out of my mouth, he's going to be able to pick up maybe a Milio or something, right? Let's be honest. Not gonna be much more to his oof. Yeah, Jax can just make it out of here. Zed is gonna be looking for the Jax here, and the Jax E just barely not going to catch the Zed as he comes out of the ultimate. Doesn't really do any damage though. So that's totally fine, as now Evelynn is gonna find the Annie here and acquire a solo kill onto her. Not too bad, but ultimate used for the support. Question mark if that is good, but I mean, of course, Annie does have quite a bit of impact onto these fights, together with the Wukong and a potential Sylas with, you know, Cannon ultimate or a Evelynn ultimate is gonna be pretty scary. So yeah, we are now dealing some damage to the Baron to scare people off here. Not a bad choice by the Jinx, as of course the objective that will be coming up is the Dragon here, and I feel like this game a little bit too head-to-head for it to be such a destruction that the blue team could just do the Baron here. Of course, very interesting because the game is like very flippy, because both teams have massive AoE and team fighting potential and are like very aggressive in the way they want to charge at each other, especially given the fact that, of course, Sylas, through the choice of ultimate, is going to be looked into a very aggressive playstyle here, and that obviously does kind of put us into this point where, like, Cannon and Sylas, very similar in the way they're going to be interacting in the fights. And then the Evelynn and the Wukong, of course, Evelynn much more focused onto a single target here, but very likely that she is also going to try to use her ultimate for a little bit more AoE here if she can't make out a pick. And then Wukong Annie, of course, heavily focused on turning around the fights using that Tibbers and Cyclone combination. Is Wukong gonna look for something here over the wall? But you also, conversely, and this is the problem, can't just jump into the Rekkles or can't just jump into the cannon, because you're just going to get CC'd and blown up. And so it just, yeah, it's just rough, man. Is now very, very disciplined by Rekkles. Not even running the ego. Beautiful flash here out of the Annie as she's going to take down the Milio. And now, oh, we will find ourselves in a lot of trouble here as the blue team is our AD carry that just now went down. Beautiful catch out of the Annie here, making it all work. As Jinx, though, is not going to be able to stand her ground against the Evelynn. And now, Sylas not able to counter trade that. That was absolutely scary, though. Not going to be able to counter trade here as the Wukong remains alive. And so it's going to be very difficult here. Still a head-to-head game. Beautiful job by the Annie catching out the Milio and just deleting him. And maybe I'm eating my words here on the Luden's Tempest and the one-shot potential. But this Annie, of course, also has a lot of gold, which you don't necessarily need, because that means that, of course, someone like the Jinx is going to struggle quite a bit more with picking up kills and so on and so forth. Generally, the enemy team here, Annie actually one of the stronger members here. And, well, doesn't really do anything for you if you just get taken down or not able to cast that point and click Q onto the Evelynn. And it's actually quite tragic because Annie can be decent against the Evelynn as long as you know, are not... As long as Evelynn is not the one striking, and then you have the reaction time to just like stun her out and deal good amount of damage to her, there's a good chance she still kills you, but you're going to put her very low, and if anyone is around, there is a good chance that you can actually take her down together. Fortunately, not so far the case. Is Cannon, Shannon, Zenon is going to be going golden, and Rekkles will pick up a kill. Using his flash, will pick up a kill onto the Jinx, who had her Gale Force available there, so she could have actually dodged that out. Wasn't really expecting the Rekkles flash forward, I think. I wasn't expecting that either, so that is totally fine. But probably quite the tilter here, as the cannon is going to make it out alive for now, but Wukong catching up to him will be going down, though, trading himself for the cannon. Not necessarily the best of trades here, when the cannon not really instrumental into taking down the base here. And we are going to take down one inhibitor. Now the next inhibitor will be worked on by Rekkles here. Rekkles not really on point with the team. Now he's going to join on over, and the Nexus is going to be taken down here. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. And stay freaking awesome.